嗨，大家好，欢迎观看网易公开课 A Talk 英语访谈，我是主持人饶顺。今天我们在多哈非常荣幸的遇到了一位来自芬兰教育部的一位负责人，跟大家来分享一下芬兰教育是什么样子的。让我们让他来给大家打个招呼吧。Hi,
Mr.Jouni Kangasniemi.
Thank you for coming to the A Talk. It's a real honor to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's a privilege to talk with you today here in Wise Doha.
Thank you. Could you please say hi to your audience?
Hello everyone. It's very pleased to meet you all. As you heard, my name is Jouni Kangasniemi and I work for the Ministry of Education and Culture in Finland. I'm a head of development in the international department.
Wow, good. And we are quite curious about what the educational system is like in Finland. Can you tell us more about it?
Yes. Education in Finland is interest to many people. In many ways, Finnish education system is very unique. First of all, it is very flexible system, and it serves every Finn in Finland.
How flexible it is?
It's flexible in way that it serves every individual learning needs. In basic education, everybody completes basic education, and then you can choose between more academic studies and more vocational studies, and then
that's the secondary school.
That's
after
secondary
that, right?
school. And after that you can still continue your studies in the university or University of Applied Sciences. So I mean there are no dead ends, and it's serving the learners, not so that the learners should adapt what the system is.
I see. I'm quite curious about the secondary education there.
Yes.
Because in China, that's kind of like high school in China.
Yes.
Because based on my experience as a Chinese, high school students in China face a pressure to work really hard, study really hard in order to pass an entrance examination to get into college.
Yes.
Is that the same in Finland?
Not necessarily. I've heard about this competition in Chinese upper secondary schools, and it seems to be so that you need to memorize a lot of content to be a good student.
Yeah, to pass the exams. Yeah, that's something we have to do.
Yes, in Finland we concentrate more on learning, especially in basic education. It's preparing you with the basic learning skills, so that later on in your life you can just digest different kind of information, and not so much concentrating on specific content. Of course there is focus on content, because at that age you start to be interested in many fields, and that's also when it's important to propose you for different subjects, so that you can find fields that interest you and what are necessary for the life.
I see. So it's like the learning habit, learning method is really important.
Yes.
It's important to be taught in the system in Finland. So with that skill or method you have, then you can apply that to any field, anything you are interested in learning.
Exactly, yes. And that's also the age when you start thinking, what am I going to do when I grow up?
Yeah.
What will I do? And instead of competing and making just what the outside world thinks that I should be doing, it's very important so that you personally feel as well that what I do, I have passion to do that. I'm very interested in doing it, and I would like to do it.
I see. So you really should have this kind of need from the inside to have the passion, so you can initiate the study. Not the study taught by your teachers or others. You have to do certain things because you know yourself, right? You know what you like, what you don't like.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's a way to really respect the students' choices.
Yes. Because in the future you need to be more creative, more flexible to meet the future needs. So that's as important than have specific knowledge. With today you have always your phone, you get access to any type of information. The only thing is to understand what kind of information that is, it is true, is it false, is it... So it's more like being critical on the information and being able to do something with the information, and that's what is very valuable in the future.
Good, good. Wow, I totally agree with you. So you shall know the method to tell the differences and to differentiate what's needed for you, what's useful for you.
Yes.
Right? So from the massive information out there.
Yes.
Wow.
And still in the early years, I mean, that's when you are still building your knowledge base.
Yep.
So a lot of important things you just need to learn.
Yeah.
Like the English, they have this clever saying that you need to learn the best of the past and be prepared for the future.
Yeah, exactly. Learn the best of the past, then use critical thinking to create something new, right?
Yes.
To better prepare for the future.
Yeah.
So we don't, because the old conventional, traditional method is just to memorize everything teaches you.
Yeah.
And then the generation stays, the knowledge, right, stays the same. They pass on from one generation to another generation. But we don't want things like this. We want knowledge to grow.
Yes.
To keep upgraded.
Yes, because I mean, otherwise you have all the knowledge, but you can't apply that knowledge because if you're a little bit afraid that it would make a big difference. Yeah, but again, the companies today, that's exactly what they want to. Yep. They don't want somebody else to create the new world, and then you just copy them and make that product service available. But they need to be on the cutting edge. That's the only way to do it. I mean, learn how to apply the knowledge that you have.
Oh, very good, very good. And another thing I want to know is, because right now, based on my experience, my niece is in, or my nephew, sorry. My nephew is in the middle school, and he has a lot of homework to do every day.
Ooh.
Every day he finishes his homework at, sometimes I heard it from my cousin, like 10 p.m., even after 10 p.m. On the weekend, and he has to go to some tutoring, to take some tutorings, to take some other classes like piano and math, English, etc.
Yeah.
So the study load is really heavy.
Yeah.
How is it like a student in Finland?
I would say that we have the same learning results with even much less hours of studying. Like my son, who is now on the 3rd grade in basic education, his school day starts between 8 and 10, and he gets back home around 12 o'clock or before 2 o'clock. So it's 3 to 4 hours a day.
So after 2 o'clock, the school is finished?
Yes, and that then starts to play, be with the friends, or hobbies if you have, if you like enjoy sports, you go sports. If you play some instrument, you might take lessons. And of course it's important to extend the school day, but every day when he has some homework, it's between
how much is the homework?
15 minutes, 45 minutes.
To finish the homework for the whole day?
Yes. And actually now he doesn't have that much of homework for every day, but he has weekly assignments.
A weekly assignment, weekly homework?
Yes. So he has a set of things that the teacher would like him to do on his own before the next Monday. So it's up to him to decide when to do it. So he has all the flexibility to plan his week, and he doesn't need to work that late. The only thing I would say that he would have a long day to work with his homework was that if he left everything for one day to do. And that's not the case, because we know, and the research tells, that in order to be a good learner you need rest, sleep, exercise and good nutrition. And if you lack any one of those components, you don't eat properly, you sleep badly, you don't exercise at all, your learning just
efficiency
goes
just
down,
drops.
and then you need to study much harder to get to the same level. So I mean, the more you study, the more difficult it gets, but having it on a proper level, you can just create impressive.
I see. Especially if you're under stress, right? That kind of things that may happen. Cannot sleep well.
Yes, and that hinders learning.
I see. Wow. That's good. That's good.
And I have heard that in China you press a lot your children to learn specific things, but again you would reach the same results with less stress on the child.
Yeah. In China, another thing is because it's like everyone is doing so. For a teacher, I know some teacher. I personally have some friends who are teaching in high school and also universities.
Yes.
To teach the students certain amount of classes every week, and it's also common for them to tutor students.
Yes.
And it's like if they don't do so, for example, other classes, other teachers, they do that.
Yeah.
So they feel like, okay, if I don't do so, I own my students certain things I ought to teach them.
Yes.
Or because of competition, my students' competence will be lower than other students who take the actual lessons, courses, or tutoring.
Yeah. Maybe two things that I would like to raise. One is that if you have this strong element of competition, it hinders learning. You are not learning because you are competing against your peers. And learning is always sharing your ideas, learning from your from your friends, peers, and even from your teacher.
I see.
And the teachers in Finland, they actually don't do any tutoring after school hours because
they don't do that.
They make do good job in the classroom, and that is enough, and it should be enough.
So they don't have kind of the need to have to teach students or maybe make extra money for their own.
No, they are paid average salary, and that is enough. And if you see that some of your student is lagging behind the group, you might provide him some extra lessons, just after the school days, immediately after the school days. But it would be like half an hour, 1 hour extra, so that he gets back on the track and follow the class. It's a group effort, not individual adventure.
Wow, that's good. That's good to know. Wow. So, as for students, I think I get a clear idea. It's like the stress that students and also teachers have in Finland is not that much, right? So it may really interest some students from China want to maybe study in Finland. Any advice, suggestion you can give to them?
Yes. We would be happy to host some of the students also and come over to Finland to study. If it's done on bilateral way, when the universities have bilateral agreement of sending students to China and from China to Finland, that's easy because then you have this discussion whether it's 6 months, 12 months that you stay in the country.
Exchange
programs. And also, I mean, nowadays it's also possible to study the whole program in Finland. It costs you between 4,000 or maybe most prestigious programs 20,000. And then the euros, yes. And then the programs are taught in English language.
English. Is the course in English language
are the ones with the tuition fee?
With the tuition fee.
Yes.
And if it's not in English, the tuition fee is
in Finnish or Swedish, which are the official languages in Finland, and you would be accepted as one of the students, and it would be actually completely free for you.
Completely free. If you
can
speak a local language.
Yes.
Is it difficult to speak the language?
Well, some say that it is as difficult than Chinese.
Chinese is difficult.
I know. Also, Finnish seems to be difficult.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Also, in the beginning of the interview, I couldn't pronounce your name very well. That was
it was very good. Yes.
That was
once you get used to the language,
the pronunciation.
I've seen people that within 6 months they have quite adequate language skills if they're keen on learning it.
I see. Oh, by the way, have you been to China before?
Oh yes, actually I was in China just 3 weeks ago in Beijing and in Hong Kong.
One in the north, one in the south.
Yes.
What's the impression of China?
I think China is advancing very rapidly. Last time I was in China it was more than 20 years ago. Wow. Oh boy, and it had changed.
A lot.
Yes. It was like any hub in the world with skyscrapers all over.
In big cities.
Yes.
Shanghai, Hong Kong.
Yes.
Beijing.
I enjoyed it very much, and also, I mean, sometimes the air is not that clean in Beijing, but luckily, just the day before I arrived, there were some heavy rains. So the sky was completely blue when I arrived.
That shows how much China welcomed you. Right?
Yes, it was very nice, very pleasant.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the interview and introducing the system and all the useful information to our audience.
Yeah.
By the way, any other words you want to say to our audience before we finish up here?
It was a pleasure meeting you today, and whatever you do, do it well, find your passion and follow that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.